KOIKIMEDIA, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwa sálára àgbà yìí dá, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbédè lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ, kìnìún ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó dorí kodò bí àdán ọ̀pẹ̀jẹ̀ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè gbó Odùduwà.
Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wá.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe gírí, ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí, ká wálé gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀, àwa ni mọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Pé ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wà kájé bùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá máa ní.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. KOIKIMEDIA ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé mádémádé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ, àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ á dẹ̀dẹ̀ ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé, ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o. KOIKIMEDIA ṣàwa ní bàbá. KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ, jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you work closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ òòdùn kan kí oko lára ni.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá, ẹ gbé polówó ọjà yín wá o.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
Odùduwà lágbédá ní, òtítọ́ lágbédá ní.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀, a kì í sóní kẹta.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
A dúró tán, a tún pèrègèdè.
KOIKIMEDIA àwọn ní bàbá.
KOIKIMEDIA, we bring you work closer to your doorstep. KOIKIMEDIA is around.
To give us latest.
Is around.
To give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó pójú gbogbo.
ladies and gentlemen,
ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀, ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó pójú gbogbo.
KOIKIMEDIA is around.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́. Nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa, táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba, tá à ń bú jòyè. Èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí, bó mo pera mi padà. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́, ẹ mọ̀ bolóṣèlú kankan. Ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀, ọba ò lè sọ, ìjòyè lè sọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá wa jà mọ́, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á bú wọn mọ́, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á ṣe wọn àwọn ará pẹ̀lú wọn. Àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú, tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́, á gbé wọn mọ́ra, á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni, à ní bú wọn mọ́. Ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n, ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ á dàlúrú. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n, a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn, a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú. Gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà, mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́. Mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́. Gbogbo nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi. Mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá. Big man ni mí, àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀. Pésówó lè mi mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́, mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó. Àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ. Kí n wọ gbowó, kí n gbéra, kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó, mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó, kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀, kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀, kí Fúlàní mọ́ da mi dúró ń títì, kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ. Àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́, wọn ò lè lódò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn, ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀, ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í, ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́, Jésù Olúwa wa.
Well, and a very good morning and welcome once again to our live transmission. It is exactly 4:56 a.m. in London, and the time is just almost before 5 o'clock here and almost 6 a.m. in Nigeria. I say good morning once again and welcome to the live transmission. Today is the 9th day of the month of March 2024. And this is the series as we continue to look into Vietnam, a country with about 92 million in population, a country somewhere in Asia, a country that has also become very powerful today after gaining their independence in 1945 through a lot of people that decided that they've had enough of the French colonizing them. As we continue to ask for the right of the Yoruba people to self-determination, self-determination is not a crime. Self-determination is an inalienable right. and that right will be respected by the current administration, just like this.
Other countries were refused at first, but we have to remember, and this is a really important point, that self-determination is an inalienable international right and a law as well. And other countries will recognise Scotland's democratic choice expressed at the ballot box. They will recognise that because that is the route that many other countries have taken in order to become independent. And just to make that point, that international law is very pragmatic on that point, so we should have confidence in that.
And I so much have confidence as well that international community will respect the Yoruba people as we continue to ask for the right to self-determination. There's a difference between self-determination and the current dispensation in Nigeria. I'll be explaining that in another program because it seems that many people continue to mix up the Yoruba people that are asking for self-determination and telling us to go and register and become a political party. If we wanted to become a political party, we will run for party position. We will have, the same system in Nigeria, but that is not what we're asking for. What we're asking for is called self-determination. Please do not mix it together. There's two different, information when it comes to self-determination. Please share the program, invite your friends. We're going to be looking at a lot of data this morning because data is very, very important. The reason why we don't have enough tourists coming into Nigeria, I'll be telling you why. And the reason why there are more tourists traveling to Vietnam, I will also tell you why. I'll be giving you from the OEC an historic data between Nigeria and Vietnam. Why is Vietnam making more money than Nigeria in terms of their GDP? You would expect that Nigeria should have done very well competing with other countries globally. But as we speak today, there are so many things that is making Nigeria unworkable. And one of them is because we are not one country. Until many Nigerians accept that we are not one country, you are not likely to grow in the country you call Nigeria. So sit back and let us enjoy this fantastic program. I say good morning. I will not be able to start mentioning names because of the time this morning, but we'd like to appreciate many of you that are watching it live. If you have not watched the first series, you need to go back on my page and watch the first series. This series might take me some time. I don't know how long, so that we can be able to grab as much. I'll be speaking in English. Please do not put in there and ask me to speak in Yoruba. I'm not speaking to you alone. I'm speaking to also international audience that needs to understand the reason why the Yoruba people have now decided that we are taking back what belongs to us. Most importantly, our language. Most importantly, our resources. Most importantly, our right to self-determination. Self-determination, according to the United Nations, Article 3, indigenous peoples have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status. They freely pursue their economic and social and cultural development. Many times people ask us why we want Yoruba nation. We are not fighting for Yoruba nation because we have problems in our religion. We've never had issue as Yoruba people when it comes to religion. We've lived side by side as people for thousands of years. When people ask the reason why we want Yoruba nation, please screenshot these and give them all some of these reasons. I will quickly go through them again. The one reason is not because of Fulani is on our territory. The reason why we want Yoruba nation is because our identity was stolen by British in 1914. And it is our fundamental right to take back that identity. Nobody is known as Nigeria. And if you're still thinking that you are a Nigerian, maybe you should listen to these because we have said it continuously, Nigeria is not a country.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves.
We are not Nigerian.
Okay, where is Nigeria where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So anybody who goes there today to say pray for Nigeria, that person is just deceiving himself, because the people who want to be that Nigeria had not sat down to agree if they want to be Nigeria.
You've just heard it there. We are not Nigerians. Please stop using the word we are Nigerian because you were born inside that particular territory. As Babawolawa said some few years before he died, that Nigeria is a mere geographical location. So quickly, if anybody asks you this morning why you want Yoruba country, straight away tell them that you want a Yoruba country because of your identity. Your identity has been stolen away from you, and you want that identity back, and you want it back today, not tomorrow, not in another 30 years, not in another 40 years, because we've all allowed Nigeria to grow for 110 years, and it is time that we wind it down and we can all decide whether we still want to live in one country. Also, who are those that are really pushing the agenda of saying that we should remain one Nigeria? We know that Britain is one of them. Britain has always loved the way Nigeria has been created, and this is the reason why this message of us comparing countries around the world is so that many Yoruba people can have the better understanding that until we go back to where we are before 1914, we are not likely to grow as Yoruba people. We will continue to struggle. We will continue to fight each other, because that is exactly what British government wanted by creating Nigeria that was never meant to be. We have about almost 300 different languages in Nigeria. You are not likely to listen to each other. We are going to marginalize ourselves, just like we can see the current dispensation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu putting all Yorubas into different parts of offices. That is going to continue until everybody goes their separate ways, and you can have just Yoruba people running their affairs just like we have them around the world. If you're then going to employ another ethnic or indigenous people, whether from the Africa side, from the European side, you will pay them for that services, and they will do exactly what you want them to do. But what we are saying in Nigeria today is that we are all forced together to live together, even though evidence proved that 13,000 years we've always existed.
This is a replica of a skull from Nigeria, and it was dug up in 1965 by Thurston Shaw and his team, an archaeologist. It is about 13,000 years old. And my colleague Katerina Havati used a new technique of digitizing the surface of the skull in 1972. And she found, as I did, that it does not look like recent African material. So here we've got a recent African skull, and here's the skull from Egypt.
You've just watched it without playing out the video, is that something was found in 1965 in Ondo State. This particular skull has existed for 13,000 years. The whole year of Nigeria today is less than 111 years old. So when some of you wants to kill yourself because of Nigeria, you want to die because of Nigeria, you will die, and the world is not going to come to an end. It is time that you start having your brain reset that Nigeria is not designed to work. Nigeria will never work, and British knows that, and they will continue to deceive you. They will continue to tell you lies upon lies through their agent, whether through their political puppet or through their embassy in Nigeria, or through their representative like Kemi Badenoch that came to Nigeria and telling you that we will have business relationship with Nigeria. Wow, we can have a Yoruba country and we can still do business with United Kingdom. The reason why Vietnam is doing very well today is because in 1945, this man, I will just call him Ho, fought, set up a system to fight back. And I mean fight back, serious fighting that involves weapons. But today, nobody is probably looking at him as a terrorist. Nobody's looking at him anymore as a criminal, but they are probably giving him more heroic welcome in Vietnam and across the world for standing their feet and defeating the colony as at the time when France was taking control of their resources. Today, we were told that we got independent in 1960, but history has also confirmed that you never got independent. What you got is a control of your mind, control of your resources, and you were given independent just to make you feel a little bit that you are part of the global community. But today, Yoruba people continue to struggle in and out, even though we have the vast amount of resources more than United Kingdom. The whole population of United Kingdom is less than 70 million. Yet, United Kingdom continue to give aid to Africa. The question is, why should that be? Until you sit back and reset your button and ask questions, your politicians will not be able to dig into those resources, because according to the fraudulent 1999 Constitution, that Constitution does not give room for you to have access to those resources. So this morning, we'll be digging through some of those data that will help you to reset that your kokoro brain that is not working. If you're thinking that your pastor is going to give you this kind of information during the Sunday service, you will never get such. If you're thinking that your imam will tell you all this, they will never tell you this. If you're thinking that the world is going to come down and tell you to reset your brain so that you can fight for your freedom, and the freedom is self-determination, nobody's going to tell you this, because the world itself is an evil entity. We continue to use our platform to educate. This platform is non-violent. This platform serves as one many of the media platforms asking for the Yoruba people's right. And like I said earlier, is an inalienable right, and that right will be respected. If anybody thinks that Bola Tinubu will do what you want, I wish you the best of luck. But one thing is, Bola Tinubu is part of the puppet of the West. His agenda is to make sure that he keeps Nigeria as one entity until we ask and demand for that right. Bola Tinubu might have a good intention, I don't know, I'm not in his mind, but the hardship in Nigeria is not going anywhere. You will live in poverty for a very long time, and you're not, and I'm quoting this now based on the statistics that I have, which I'm going to be showing you in just about a few minutes. So please do not quote me as me making up these statistics. These are statistics that we saw, we read through, and evidence continue to point into it that many Nigerians today, and I use the word many Nigerians, you are not likely to survive under 65 years old. And the reason is not for your fault. The reason is because Nigeria is not capable to look after every single Nigerian, because Nigeria is just too big for itself. It is much better to break it into particles, just as Yugoslavia was broken into particles, just like Soviet Union, and just like so many other countries that have dissolved and have been capable to take care of their people. Even though they might have internal problems, they might still have issues, but yet they are able to look after their loved ones, and the most important, those that own the resources. Once again, a very good morning and welcome. Yoruba nation is not going anywhere. If you are one of those fraudulent politicians in the Southwest thinking that we will one day stop talking about Yoruba nation, you better wake up from your dream, because we will continue to fight for Yoruba nation until we get Yoruba nation. Let me first give you these data, and let's remove these gentlemen so that it doesn't have any block in the view. What you're looking right now, and I want you to take a screenshot, or if you can take a bit of pen and paper and take note of some of these data. This data is very, very important and unique. And the reason why it is important is because if the world is going to look at your country, then look into the data of what you are producing and what you are exporting. Many of you today continue to ask why you are not rich. You are not rich in pocket, you are not rich in mind, because your country is not providing enough resources to allow you to live a better life in terms of production. Productivity in Nigeria is only in the church and the mosque. We've seen that. History and historic data has shown that Africa has so many churches and mosques compared to factories where you can reproduce a lot of different things. So let me tell you from your left hand side, and this is the historic data from Vietnam, according to the OEC, which you can check yourself, www.oec.world, spelled as Oscar Echo Charlie.world. On the left hand side, the total value of product produced in Vietnam in 2022 worth $333 billion US dollars. Those are products bought by different countries around the world, from China to Japan to Hong Kong to India to Germany to Netherlands to UK to Italy, France, Spain, Poland, United States and South Korea and Thailand, Cambodia and many countries around the world. Take note of that. Vietnam produce a value total product export $333 billion. Let's look at Nigeria, the same country, the same year. The total production from Nigeria is only 70 billion, not even up to 100 billion. That tells you that country is not going anywhere. So if you're one of those still going to church or mosque or your traditional institution and praying that one day Nigeria will grow so that you can be part of that growth, you better reset your brain, because Nigeria is not going to grow and it will never grow, because that is the design given to Nigeria not to grow. Let's look again at the data from Nigeria. The only thing Nigeria has done so far is the increment of the devil, which I called petrol or crude oil. We have a lot of it, but yet many of you don't even have access to it, because as at yesterday with my reporter been telling me that it now costs about 650 naira for liter of petrol from a country that has good amount of crude oil, yet those crude oil has never been of benefit to any Nigerians apart from the Alakija, the Dangote, the BUA, the Tony Lemelu, the Otedola, and the many of those criminals, politicians, and the wealthy individuals that have now taken a total control of those resources that belongs to every one of us. Imagine that people have now been given access. Okay, I hope nothing happened to you as I'm just reading your comments, and I believe that should have sent to me rather than sent into the comment section. I'll speak to you later after the program. As we know, Nigeria produced crude oil, good amount of it, which you can see from the historic data in 2022. The full red that you're looking there says that Nigeria sold about 73.7% of crude oil in 2022, about value to 52.1 billion. The question is, where is the money? Nobody knows where the money is, because the money moves out of Nigeria through the sales of the crude oil, and evidence has pointed out that money never returned back to the central bank. So individuals were just making and taking advantage. So when you are one of those Yorubas or Nigerians that are trying to save Nigeria, even Showore is trying to save Nigeria, he knows that he cannot save Nigeria, but he's just saying he wants to save Nigeria. And I'm sure Showore is almost getting to America after 5 years fighting for Nigerians that are not ready to be fight for, because they are not ready, because they are still thinking that they can get APC, a criminal organization, PDP, another criminal organization, Labour Party, another criminal organization, to come and fix Nigeria. So it shows that for 63 years of these big elephant country, they could not produce nothing. For the 63 years of independence, we've exported almost everything that we are using in Nigeria. Compare that back again to Vietnam. You can see the multiple numbers of things produced in Vietnam. Let me give you some of those things that are produced in Vietnam. Broadcasting equipment, telephones, integrated circuits, textile footwear, leather footwear, furniture, office machine parts, semiconductor device, computers, knitwears, non-knitwears, non-knit woman sales, leather footwear, seats, rubber, coffee, rice, and many more of stuff sold. So Vietnam does not rely on a particular sales of one particular item. Your country that you love so much that you are ready to sacrifice your life refused to produce jack shit. It has not produced anything, and that is why you are struggling as a Nigerian today. So when you look at what Vietnam has done, they've channeled almost everything by making sure that their citizens have enough of jobs by producing a lot. Nigeria is not producing. We are just a consumer nation. And let me say this again. We continue to consume and we are not producing. That is not good enough. Once again, a very good morning. As we say all the time, Nigeria is not a safe place. And I'm just getting a message from one of my reporters that armed robbers were able to penetrate into their premises. Like we've always say, that Nigeria is not a safe place. Nigeria remains a crime scene. And as one of my reporters there was an armed robbery incident, and I believe some of you must have seen that video, but probably maybe not every one of you, because that broadcast came through one of our channel, but we'll be putting that out, and I hope that Seyi Makinde will continue to make sure that many reasons why you're seeing crime in Nigeria today is because everybody wants to survive, even though we don't condone crime. There will be more crime, so most of you must prepare your mind for such. Like I said, there will be different crimes in Nigeria, from theft of people of one chance, to more crimes on the street, to more crimes in the forest, and the most big crime is your government, because they are the biggest criminal in the world. So when we talk about crime, you are all going to see more criminals trying to survive, because that is the only way they believe they have to. So I want us to stick to this data before we move to another part. This is a country that also fought for their freedom. When we calculate 1945 till now, that is approximately so 1945 till now is about 79 years old. Okay, so according to what we know, Vietnam gained their independence in 1945. 1945 till date is just about 79 years old. And look at what they've been able to do in 79 years. They've now been able to produce more because the data in 2022, which is just less than 2 years ago, told us that their total export was 339 billion US dollars, compared to Nigeria, where our total export for the same year, a country with vast amount of brains, according to what we are told, a country that has, human resources, has vast amount of land, but yet we could not produce jack shit. Nothing. We could not produce anything. So when some of you are thinking that when we come online, we are trying to bring down Nigeria. No, I am not bringing down Nigeria. This is the data. The data says to me that we are not producing anything. Apart from the red, which just says crude oil, petroleum gas, and probably just a little bit of one or two items on the list there. Compare that to Vietnam. You can see Vietnam is not relying on crude oil. That means they have to work day and night. They have their own religion. Their religion has not stopped them from growing. Rather, their religion has given them the preference to work hard. Take note of that. Now, let's come to holiday. Okay, let's come first straight to life expectancy. I pray that we all grow into our old age. I pray our parents will grow more on our life. But a population of 96.6 million as of 2020, the fatality rate is 1.96 birth per woman. The GDP is 3.5 thousand US dollars. They have their language. But you can tell that people in Vietnam are living longer. They are living long life because only God knows what is wrong with Nigerians that think that you are going to survive a very long life. Like I said, death is not something that we wish on anybody, but we can just tell from the last person that we can say died. And I'm talking about Sisi Quadri. Sisi Quadri died at the age of 44 years old. I don't know the cause of the death. I am not here to lament on that. That is not what we are discussing. But you can tell that he did not survive the life expectancy that we were told in Nigeria, which is 52 years old. So Sisi Quadri died almost below that age. Let's look at Mohbad. Mohbad, a very beautiful artist, well sang, very powerful when you listen to his lyrics, but yet Mohbad did not survive that age group. Okay, let's look at Tolulope Arutile. Tolulope Arutile, the first helicopter combat pilot. You would think that that kind of individual should be protected from the species that kill people in Nigeria, but rather Tolulope Arutile was killed in the military barracks in the same Kaduna that we now realize that over 300 students are currently missing as I speak to you through Fulani terrorist attack. Tolulope Arutile died at the age of 24. Jumoke Oyeleke, she died at the age of 20. Anyonwola Bamishe died at the age of 30 plus, less than 30 years old. So you can tell that it is not the first time that people are dying. When we say people die all the time, it's because evidence point out that those that should have survived died in their very young age. And I guess when we go back, I believe Delegiwa died just less than 52 years old as well. Because Delegiwa was born in 1947 in Ile-Ife. But he was killed by a bomb blast by Babangida that still lives in Minna through a letter bomb. So when we go back and look at the year Delegiwa died in 1986. Delegiwa himself was not 52 years old when he died. One of the brilliant journalists of our time. The founder and editor of Newswatch magazine. Many of you that were born in 2000 probably don't even know who Delegiwa is. So these were individuals that thought that they could fix Nigeria by portraying the evil committed by Nigeria because it was reporting a particular story Ocon that was taking drugs to London. He was eventually killed by a letter bomb, just like the same government would have killed Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho if the gods of the Yoruba land did not protect it. So when some of you come online and trying to defend this crazy country called Nigeria, it's because you do not understand the historic data surrounding Nigeria. Nigeria is a corporate entity because that is the way the British wanted it to be. Today, Vietnam continues on, becoming the popular kid in the class. Many countries want to work with them, as you can see there. Australia is also joining China, Russia, so that it can become part of having cordial relationship with Vietnam. Let's look at your tourism. Many of you think that when the Nigerians abroad come